Start off with this is UK Thrashers, and I'm here tonight with excuse me, Richard Sheridan from Solitary, and again, we'd like to say welcome for this chat. Thanks for coming to join us.
No, thanks for asking me, Matt. Yeah, thanks.
That's all right. That's all right. A bit of transparency. Second time lucky. We had some rather technical difficulties last time, so
Yeah.
hopefully we can do a bit better this time, can't we? I'd just like to start there. So, first off, your album's coming out in a few days.
Yeah.
September 6th. So Embrace the Darkness. We're looking forward to that. You looking forward to it?
It's good. It's good to finally get it out. I mean, obviously we've sort of fulfilled all the pre-orders and everything now, so we're kind of getting feedback from everybody who's bought it from us before its official release date. So we've sent those out, and there's quite a lot of social media activity, and the messages we're getting is really nice. And there's a few reviews coming as well, and everything so far has been very positive. So hopefully the same will continue on Friday when it comes out and it becomes available on all the digital platforms, etc. Because I mean, being honest, that's where most people listen to music now. So that's when we'll really find out. Yeah.
Well, the physical copies as well is going to be. You got a CD, vinyl, any sort of like special vinyls coming out with that release?
No, we've just done because the album was called Embrace the Darkness. We thought let's have a black album. So we went for the heavyweight black vinyl because it kind of tied in well. We could have gone for like a purple like the album artwork, but we just thought no, this time let's just try that. So that's what we went for. So yeah, we've just gone for the one. Maybe if it sells out, touch, which would be amazing if it did do that, then we could perhaps go a different colour next time. But yeah, and then the CD is just a standard digipack really. But I think most releases now seem to be on a slimmer kind of like digifile thing, but we've still stuck with the digipack. So yeah, they both got extra tracks on. They both got an extra track on.
Something for me to look forward to. Then
that's not on the the digital version. So yeah, if you're buying physical, you get a bonus track.
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? Really, you know what I mean? I think that's quite a good, very good way of marketing it. With the marketing as well. You're looking forward to the tour starting on the 13th.
Yeah, it's going to be yeah.
Manchester, excuse me.
Yeah, Manchester. So it's the first time we've done a sort of headline show in Manchester that's our own show in sort of like 2.5 years, something like that. So. We're looking forward to that. And then obviously the night after we're in London as well. So
I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it was good when we were there last time. So hopefully,
last year was fun.
We'll do the same, same sort of people to show up and we'll have a good time. That's what we're looking forward to.
Yeah. Again, the cart and horses.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a good venue to have you played there often?
We've only done it once last year.
Is it just those two?
Yeah. Well, we've only done. This is the second time we're doing it. So
yeah.
I mean, it's a cracking venue. It's a bit of a bugger to get to because it's in the East End, isn't it? So with us coming from the north, we've got to sort of go around the bottom of London and nip up. So Camden's easier for us, but Cart and Horses, like I say. Great venue, it's just a great stage, great setup. So we were like, we'll come back, and then when we were booking the dates, we didn't look anywhere else really. We just said, well, we'll go back there.
Bit of history to it as well, isn't there?
There is. I'm not a massive Iron Maiden fan, but it's still quite special to know that you're playing in places that they played in. So.
Well, going back to this album that's been released, you're going back to the independent. You're going to do this completely on your own now, aren't you?
Yes.
No longer with Metalville.
No. Well, yeah. I mean, we just we mutually agreed that our time had come to an end from their perspective and ours as well. as I was saying yesterday, because it was a European label, every UK sale was classed as an import. So
right.
we got a lower percentage, we had a lower dealer price and therefore had a lower royalty against it. So it didn't really make sense for us to release another album with them when we sell most of our stuff here in the UK. So
Yeah, well, it does make
we just
sense,
took the plunge and thought, right, well, what are we going to do? It's different for us because it's the first, everything we've released previously, we've always worked with a label. So way back to the 90s, we had record labels involved, and we sort of thought, well, if he's good enough for Metallica, we can sort of pull it off, and
yeah.
I think the idea of doing it versus the reality of it is very different, because you think, oh yeah, we can do that, but then just the logistics of it all and the deadlines that you have to reach, that you've got to have things at distributors, etc. And we had an absolute nightmare because originally our plan was, what we'll do, we'll get it on Amazon and we'll sell the album on Amazon because everybody buys from Amazon, and we'll just do it through our online store, and that'll do us. Because I was honestly, we were of the opinion, well, nobody's going to buy anything from anywhere else when you can get it on Amazon or you can get it from us. So trying to set up an Amazon account, well, that's like trying to crack the Da Vinci Code.
Is it really? It's
that hard? Absolutely impossible to sell physical products, physical music products on Amazon because of all the counterfeit stuff that was knocking around years ago. They've made it really, really difficult, and you just can't get anywhere. So basically,
there's no shortage of buying any sort of like knockoffs at all when it comes to Amazon. Well, you say it feels like, doesn't it?
Yeah, but music, no. So, it was. So I had a couple of very stressful weeks, and then I got in touch with Nick at Code 7, which is an independent distributor that we'd spoken to a few years ago, and I sort of said, "Help me," and he's brilliant, Nick, and he was like, he said, "Did we speak before?" And I said, "Yeah," and I kind of lied a bit, and I said, "Yeah, a couple of years ago," but it wasn't. It was about 6 years ago. And so I just convinced him. I spent about an hour on the phone chatting to him, and he was like, "Yeah, let's do this." So that was the reason why the album got pushed out, because it was supposed to be out on the 23rd of August, but we couldn't get the one sheet, which is what the distributors need, in place in time with the retailers for an August release. We'd missed it. So he said the earliest we can do September. So we're like, right, all right, well, let's do the 6th of September because that's the first release date. And then he was like, "Richard, when's the stock coming? When is this?" He's on the phone today, so he's a top guy. And in doing so as well, he also, it's meant that we're digitally distributed by Universal now. So that's better for us as well for the digital.
Yeah, it does help.
So we've kind of fallen on our feet, but yeah, it's been a torrid time, but we are where we are.
It's a lot of the way a lot of bands do at the moment tend to do independence. A lot of that could be down to like the technology it's used. I mean, it's so much like home recording and stuff. Did you do a lot of sending files to each other from home or anything? I mean,
no. So the what we did was we obviously we worked with Simon Etherby again. So it's the third time we've used Simon to produce and mix our album, but he wanted to, after we'd done The Truth Behind the Lies, he said, we need to step it up next time. We need to do something different in terms of the way that we record it. So we were like, right, okay. So he said, I want Royston in the studio doing the drums. He said, because I think we can get more out of him if I've got him here. So we were like, right, okay. So
he's worked some good names, really, hasn't he? With his metal output, it's a lot more sort of like a lot more of it is more death metal, isn't it? Where you've got like Napalm Death and like Paradise Lost, Obituary, even and You know what I mean? And he seems to have his head together when it comes to doing thrash, like with the last couple of, the last outputs that you've done with him. It seems.
I think to be honest, we're the only thrash band that he's ever done.
Yeah.
So, obviously he's known for the Wild Arts and Paradise Lost and that kind of thing. So,
and Wonder Stuff. Don't forget that.
Yeah, the Wonder Stuff. Yeah. So, but obviously we've been in contact with Simon since 2013. So it's like 11 years now that we've been friends, etc. And since he agreed to sort of do Disease, so that's how long that took. But going back to what I was saying, so he wanted to do something different. He said, we need to do more with the drums. We need to, he said we need to do differently, because previously we'd always recorded the drums ourselves in our own. We've got like a rehearsal unit that's got a control.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, it's a control room attached to it. So we tracked the drums and then sent them to Simon, and then they were re-triggered, if you will, for the last two albums. But with this one, he was like, no, I want to produce it. So basically, what we did was we used my house to record the drums. So where I'm sat talking to you now is the office that I work in when I'm doing my day job, and it's also where a lot of the band stuff is as well. So we set this room up as a control room, and then across my garden, I've got like two like outbuilding type shed things, one of which is like a home gym, and we just set the drums up in there and ran multi-core across the garden into the shed, and we basically tracked the drums. This was in January 2023, freezing cold. We had a window open and running this multi-core. So yeah, it wasn't. The neighbours weren't really that pleased, to be.
They got an.
But they're all right. I mean, quite lucky because we sort of live out the way, so we've got a couple of neighbours, and one of them's retired, so she just said, yeah, it's doing me head in, but it's fine, and and so we did the drums, and then really schedule wise we were a bit scuppered because Simon was out with Napalm and doing other things, like because he's also a live sounding engineer, so he was doing that, and then we toured a lot last year, so it was like we didn't really have any spare time for me to go back in and do the vocals, because the guitars, Andy and Gaz did the guitars at home because they can do, and then the vocals were going to be done. Well, the plan was always to do the vocals after the summer,
right?
But I went to Ireland when we went to Germany. I managed to contract some sort of viral infection that kind of destroyed the top notes of my voice. So I was like, when I was going for that little bit higher in the range, they were just choking and dying out. So I wasn't in a position to record any vocals. It was like I was in bad shape really. So we could play live, but I was having to like try and do things slightly differently. So it was like, nah, Rich, you can't be recording vocals like that, because I was literally like some of the demos of the album, you can hear it on that, like on Filtering Hindsight, the demo of that, at the end of it, I just go like, oh, like Grover from Sesame Street, and he's like, no, we're not recording anything yet. So by December it was all right, and so he came up in December, and then we tracked the vocals, and we built a vocal booth in one of the sheds, and again we did it there. But that was so Simon lived at our house for about a week and a bit, so we got all the stuff, and then we also did, when we did the drums, we did the pre-production as well, face to face, which we'd not done before, because previously it's all been done remotely, whereas we literally sat in here and got the songs on or through the desk, and had a few beers. Well, he had a few beers, I had a couple of drinks. He was like, no, try it like this, Rich, try it like that. And there's all these tapes of like these noises of like, this is what you could sing over this. So yeah, so it was a rewarding process. And then when we went to mix it, we were at Foal Studios in Cambridge, and that's an incredible studio. Like White Snake have recorded there, and it's next to the PRS Guitar Factory. So
wow.
we had, and it's actually PRS. It's the son of the owner of PRS. It's his studio, Piers. We were there for 5 days mixing it, and that's really quite good because you're not having to do much work then. You just sat there listening. So me and Andy were there for 5 days while Simon and Piers mixed it all.
So a compromise between sort of like the home brew and a proper recording studio, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we've got the gear. We've got decent gear at our rehearsal unit to be able to track stuff. So we literally just picked everything up and brought it here. So basically,
So going back to, sorry, something's gone. Going back to all that, the you first forming, if you will.
Yeah.
When you've been at this for quite a while, to be honest with you, haven't you?
Yeah. 3 decades.
Yes, you know what I mean. So this is actually your 30th anniversary this year. So that's quite a thing, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Because when you started up, you were coming up at a time when groove metal was sort of like kicking in a step. Where Sepultura were sort of like starting to break more into groove, and Machine Head were doing more things like that. Pantera were really blowing up, but and around at the same time, industrial metal was kind of like picking up a bit with Fear Factory. And Paradise Lost actually started sort of experimenting more with that. I mean, how were you able to sort of like keep the faith, to say like, you know what, I'm just going to do thrash. We're going to do thrash and screw the rest of it.
I don't think we really were a thrash band initially, although everybody said thrash, but thrash was, we were like Testament, Machine Head type thrash, which was
Testament were changing to more into death, weren't they, really, at the time?
Yeah, probably about 97 that wasn't it, but like 94 when we formed, the Low album was pretty much a thrash album, wasn't it? It was doing that groovier thing, and we were playing in the similar kind of tuning. It was a drop D tuning, and I think initially I would say we were massive Paradise Lost fans because they kind of brought the Icon album out in '93, and it's like, yeah, we like this, So the early stuff was like a fusing between, your down tune sort of, your D tune, top string D tune, like everybody was playing at the time, mixed with a bit of Paradise Lost, mixed with a bit of and the Machine Head and all that, and really that's the culmination of that album. That's what you can hear there. I think the Paradise Lost thing kind of disappeared on the early demos. It probably did. There's not much on that first album you would say sounded anything like Paradise Lost. Maybe my vocals were a bit like Nick Holmes's. Well, I can't sing, and apparently he's not very good. He wasn't very good either back then, according to Simon. So,
he does a good stab of it, though, doesn't he? To be honest,
he's a very good singer. Very good singer. But anyway, those are studio secrets that we'll keep to ourselves. There's Simon gives you an indication of how he wants you to sing it, and then you copy that
as best as you can.
Pretty much. Yeah. So I think how have we continued doing what we're doing? I just don't think we've ever had any reason not to do it, because we're always striving to do something different, to better what we've done previously.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of easy to I think it's easier to give up than it is to carry on doing what you're doing. But then, because it's been a constant in my life since I was 21. 19, since I was 19.
It's important these days to get the numbers right, isn't it?
Yeah. I can't see. I could never see a reason why I wouldn't do it. And we've rehearsed 2, 3, 4 times a week for 30 years, and that is like my life. You know, the band was around, Solitary was around before my wife and my children. So
yeah,
they joined that kind of thing,
yeah,
you know. So, and I can't see a point in giving it up, because I don't think we never got to the, you know, if you look back to the 80s and stuff, and the, you know, all those bands in the 80s, they all made it, and they all had they had the good tours, and then it died. They got dropped by the record labels, and then it got progressively worse. So that's why they packed it in.
Oversaturated, didn't it? Really.
I don't know, but maybe. But I think the record labels at the time launched a load of money into it, and then said, "Oh, everybody wanted the next Metallica, because Metallica were the big thing." So they signed everybody, and then when nobody sold anything like they expected, you know, they invested this similar kind of money, but then when nobody had the return of sales required to, you know, for that investment to continue, that's why everybody got dropped. So they were all doing the decent shows, and then they dwindled off. Well, we never got the decent shows. We were always fighting to get that next one, and that's probably why we've never packed it in.
That's fair enough. You did seem to say pack it in, but can I just say that your earlier stuff had a more scooped sound? And I know I kind of touched on this with a chat a while back, but was it really, you know, was that an intentional thing you wanted to do, you know, just to sort of like elaborate more on that, or
as in the guitar sound, I mean?
Yeah, the guitars had a scoop style, you know, in like the Nothing Changes album.
Yeah,
you know, not so much with Requiem and all that, but was that a thing that was that following the trend or anything like that, or
no, not really. No, I mean, I don't like any mid on my guitar. Never have done. I've always wanted everything to sound like Injustice for All. So, but
with more bass, hopefully.
Yeah, but I think it's probably the limitations of the gear that we had, and probably the way it was recorded, and the experience of the guy who was engineering it and sort of producing it.
All right.
So, you know, you're only as good as the weakest link in the chain, if you will. And back in 1998, there was many weak links in that chain. So, be it gear wise, be it the desks we were using, be it, you know, our ability, the knowledge of the person recording you, etc. And you can't really compare that, because it was all done on reel to reel. So that album it's not digital, it's reel to reel.
That's not cheap.
Sorry?
It wasn't cheap, was it?
Oh, it wasn't cheap, no.
You know what I mean? That's I suppose that's one of the things with the modern music making technology now, you know, is that you
it's still,
you could do 100 takes on a hard drive, can't you? You couldn't do that with like reel-to-reel or anything like that, you know. So.
Yeah, the tape starts to wear out. So yeah, I mean, the digital side of things gives you lots more opportunity. If you go into studios, it's definitely. I mean, we couldn't afford. You know, let's be honest. 1998, we couldn't afford to have Simon Effamy produce anything for us, but we can now.
Yes.
But the interesting thing is Draconian Times. He got paid the same amount for recording Draconian Times as he did for our last album.
That's bad, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's 30 years ago, isn't it? So that's how much, you know, that's how much it was then, how much money it was then, how much it's depreciated now. So, so that's kind of an indication of how things have come down. But then your studio time is still quite expensive a day, because you're using residential studios.
Yeah.
You know, but then you've got to get it done quicker. You know.
There were a lot of, I suppose back then you need, you know, like you get it. It was because of reel-to-reel tape that made it was rehearsed what you had before you even entered the studio.
I mean,
some albums were coming out within a couple of, you know, they say, we were done recording within a few days or something, weren't they? You know.
Yeah, I mean, we're still fairly quick, you know. So the drums, Roy Snell knocked the drums together in, you know, I think he did it in 4 days. Yeah, I think he did. I think he took 4 days to do the drums. I did the vocals in 2.5 days. But then obviously with Andy and Gaz, I think Gaz did the bass in a weekend. He did it in 2 days. I don't know how long it took Andy. It probably took him more time because he does all the guitars. Everything. So, yeah.
When we were talking about like old days as well and all this, and talking about the old school, is it weird when we talk about old school? Because when I think about it, maybe you think about it as well. We think old school. We kind of think of the early days, like Exodus and like the Whiplash album, Slayer, and all these, Testament in the early days. But when you think about it, that sort of like went so long ago. Old school would be more, wouldn't you think, would be like Power Trip or Gamma Bomb? Back in sort of like the early to mid noughties. Because when you think about it, that's nearly a quarter of a decade ago, or approaching.
Yeah.
Could you use the term classic thrash nowadays, or? I mean, what is it that gives thrash? Is what I'm trying to get to. What is it that you reckon that gives thrash metal its longevity? This second and third time round, since.
Is there any better form of music? I suppose that's. I don't think there is. Is there anything?
You couldn't put it more simply, could you?
Yeah, from my perspective, is there anything that was as exciting? Because everybody who's into it was there at the time, so they've still got that buzz. You still got that feeling of when you heard that first Forbidden album, or you first heard Rain in Blood, and that kind of thing, and that never leaves you, that sort of feeling. So why does it keep coming back? Because those people who weren't there at the time discover it and think, oh God, because most people probably discover Metallica probably via the Black Album, and then they step backwards. And then they hear puppets, they hear Creeping Death, and it's like, oh my God, what is it? And there's that mystique about it all, and I think people try and replicate it because those are the biggest bands, Metallica are absolutely huge, and the pinnacle of their career was from 83 to 91, arguably, because the Black Album is still a very good album, but it's just a more mainstream metal album. And I think that's probably why, because these bands, they grow up and they want to emulate it, and
quite a few of them have had a go at that, haven't they, really?
Sorry?
There's a few of the bands that have had a go at that, trying a bit more of a mainstream sound. So you can't knock them for it, really, can you?
Oh no, I'm not knocking anybody.
No, I'm not trying to say.
You're just asking me, why does thrash keep coming back, and I think it's that reason, because it's accessible, because it's fast and it's aggressive, but then there also can be tunes there and hooks, and maybe with like death metal and stuff, although that's extreme and you get that buzz from it, it doesn't have the same hooks potentially, or people hear different things. So I really don't know, but I couldn't tell you. I just know why we do it.
It's the different styles, the different styles that come together. Kind of like, I remember not long ago I was talking to Paul of the band Helgrind, and we sort of talking about. He mentioned about the difference between the northern of the UK thrash sound and the more London sound. Where he said the northern sort of sound takes more from like the rest of Europe, so to speak, and like the more southern you go, it kind of tends to go a bit more across the Atlantic with a more sort of punk vibe. Do you think there's any, do you can elaborate that, and if you see any sort of like collaboration with that or cooperation? Sorry,
I can't, because you would say, you look at most of the reviews that we get, and we're likened to Testament and Slayer, so.
Sometimes I do hear a European vibe,
Oh yeah, there is an element of that, but I suppose it's what you're into, I mean, there was. When you say European, do you mean like this sort of
Germans or the Swedes, the more sort of like, the creators and the assassins?
I've never been influenced in anything that's come out of Germany. I like the last few Creator albums, but I always thought I didn't really like the high pitched vocal and stuff. So the Swedish stuff, yeah, the Swedish what the new wave, whatever it was called, melodic death metal stuff. Yeah,
yeah, or even the Haunted, maybe.
Pardon?
Even the Haunted as well.
Yeah, Haunted, yeah.
You rate the Haunted, I believe.
Yeah.
I've noticed there's a certain Haunted vibe. You know, the Disappeared, the single.
Yeah, well, that was almost like a bit of a tribute to them, because we wanted to do a really short, fast song. Like the Unidentified Disease is quite short and quite Haunted-esque, and Chris from Imperative PR, who does all our PR and everything for us, he said, "Oh, you've got to do another song like the Unidentified." So Andy had the riffs. So there's like only about 3 or 4 riffs in the Disappeared, and he had these riffs, and we were like, when we were putting the songs together, we listened to them, and I went, let's just have these 3 riffs and just keep it really, really short and sweet. So we like literally blasted it out. So that there was like the intro one, and then the verse riff was quite simple, and then there's that haunted-y bit, and then there's the intro one comes back in for the chorus and everything. And I was like, right, just try and play it with Royston. So he basically wrote on a piece of paper, right, the order of the riffs. I said, go for it, and we'll record it and see what it sounds like. And it was actually called, I said, here's your cue card. And it was like riff 1, riff 3, riff whatever. And the song for a long time was called Cue Card. until I came up with the title. Yeah,
I mean, even the cover, it kind of looks like a homage to the Haunted Made Me Do It as well. I think that's...
talking to Cadet, the artist, so he said, we were trying to come up with what to make the cover look like, and I said, right, okay, I had this idea because that the Haunted Made Me Do It had all the serial killers, didn't it, on it, and then I thought, well, the subject of the Disappeared is about people who disappeared during the IRA disappeared people in the Troubles in the 70s and 80s. So I just said to Cadet, I said, let's use the pictures of the people who were disappeared, and
quite poignant when you think about it.
Yeah, and that's really what it's kind of all about, So.
Thank you. That's wow. How do I follow that? I mean,
well, you've always got to have if you're going to do aggressive music, you've got to have.
You've got something.
You've got to match it up with what you're talking about. I think. Yeah.
That is a very good point. You need something to give it some sort of impedance to it all, if that's the right word. Also, what you're saying, when you posted recently that you can vote if you join the vote to play a town near you. Excuse the extreme change in subject. Now, how'd that go, or is it still an ongoing thing that you?
It's still an ongoing thing because we're not. I think we need to sort of.
Was that a push to try and sort of find new places to play? Was it, or was it more sort of just for a bit of fun, just to see how the votes go?
Some and some really, because I think you want to be playing places where where people want to see you. So it would be pointless us going to our agent and saying, right, book us a tour, and he sticks us in Newport. Not that there's anything wrong with Newport, Carlisle,
Hitchin,
Skegness, and places like that. If we've got no people who are into us there, there's a lot of driving to play to nobody. So, but if people are saying, right, okay, I'm from Birmingham and I'd like to see you in Birmingham, and if there's a handful of people from Birmingham who want to come and see you, it's worth booking a show there. And that's kind of what we decided to try, because there's so many towns all over the country, and you always you get messages infrequently, I would say, on social media and stuff saying, oh, come and play here, or you put a tour date up and people say, come and play here, come and play there. But you can't just go up one person, so you need more than that to say, right, is it worth our while doing that? Is it worth
yes.
the risk of booking a show there? So that's what we've done. But it's probably an ongoing thing because we don't really know what we're doing next year yet.
Yeah. Well, you go. You're gonna have a busy couple of months up ahead, I'm assuming, aren't you?
Yeah.
Launch. You've got UK. Any plans of going further afield later on? After this UK tour.
Yeah, we'll be in Europe next year. Yeah.
Doing a bit more.
And then we'll do some of your UK stuff as well. So we're going to we've basically got the September shows, then we've got October off, and then we're over to Ireland because basically I need a breather. So I'm going on holiday in October, and I think Royston's away as well. So yeah, we've got it. It's been.
Well, why not?
Yeah.
It's been a busy year so far, and it's only going to get busy in the next few weeks.
Yeah, and then we're over in Ireland at the end of November. And then that's really it. I mean, we would have liked to have done more gigs, but it's just not physically possible to get everything in. It's been hard work doing what we've done to try and get ready to do these shows in September, because at the same time as we're trying to promote the album, we're also, because we've booked all the shows ourselves and booked the venues, and basically we've become our own promoters for a number of the shows. You're advertising on two fronts, and although on paper everybody thinks, release an album and then go out on tour, that's how it's done, which is fine if you've got somebody releasing your album for you and then you've got some promoters promoting your tour. But when you decide to go, we'll bring it all in house and we'll take care of it all, suddenly you're spinning so many plates that you're making sure that nothing goes crashing down. So
it's the other side of the coin, isn't it, of the independent. Something that can be taken for granted, isn't it? But without the backup of a label, if you've got a label and you've got a PA, you've got PR, and you've got
but I mean the thing is with labels, they get a lot of stuff wrong. So you also, although they do take care of everything, they're always dropping howlers and stuffing things up. So you've got the absolute gutting feeling of that's wrong this time, or that's missing, or they've done that wrong. And end of the day, it's our babies, isn't it? It's our art, it's our music. And you're going to somebody, right? Okay, yeah, you can release it, and they're paying you a percentage for it, but then they've got a right to look after it and make sure it's correct. And then when they don't, and then they're just like, it doesn't matter. We'll spell the name of a track wrong on the inlay. It don't matter. Or we'll put the wrong. We'll put the wrong. I'm not saying, but we'll do other things.
Yeah.
I don't matter. It's all right. It don't matter to them. And then it doesn't accept any accountability. So so do it all ourselves. Get it wrong, and then you can only blame yourself, can't you?
This is true. Yeah, this is true. Well, I've kind of run out of questions, unfortunately. Except one. What's your favourite biscuit? I know. I think you had a feeling this was coming.
Should I say a different one? I like Jaffa cakes. Are they a biscuit though, or are they a cake?
You see, this is a debate, and I'm not too sure if it's a debate for a heavy metal topic, or is it? I mean,
I wouldn't say so. But it's good to ask that question, isn't it? Yeah. So but as I said the other day, I can't have biscuits, chocolate, and beer. So I've got to pick one thing. So I'll always go with beer.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's fair enough, and I'll drink to that. Thank you very much.
Good man.
All I'm going to say is that thank you ever so much for chatting to us.
No problem, Matt.
Like I said, again, Embrace the Darkness, 6th of September.
Yeah,
coming out independently, and your tour starts Manchester. It's the pier, isn't it? The pier hat in Manchester on the 13th. The Solitary playing Cart and Horses on the 14th. Any other dates I've forgotten about?
We're off to Edinburgh the week after, and then we're in Leeds, and then we're doing Wrexham. So that's September for us.
Nice. And then I would like, as you just said earlier, October off.
And then October, October's off. Yeah, we'll still be rehearsing and doing things, but no shows in October. And then sort of, well, it's really October and November. We've kind of not got anything booked, but we did sort of purposely do that because we knew that you would get to a point where we would just be exhausted. Like last year when we did the Thrash Domination tour with Eradicator, it was because we were out every month, a couple of weekends a month throughout the course of the year. It was exhausting because we're not getting any younger, and like you're stopping in hotels with each other and driving all over the place, and it does take it out of you, So
yeah, this is true. Fair enough. I forgot what I was going to say then. So I think maybe that's thank you for taking the time out to chat to me.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Brilliantly, really well done. And I will look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks at the
looking forward to it. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yep. Obviously, still tickets available from the usual places.
Solitary.org. Yeah. You can pay on the door, or you can get a ticket in advance. So there's plenty of marketing going on. So I'm sure anybody who's
there's still plenty of space for anyone who's still interested.
Right, he's filling up.
Oh well, good thing. Well, getting quick then, I think would be the word to put out. Well, thank you again for chatting to us.
No problem.
And I really appreciate it. Thank you. Right, I'm going to have to figure out how to stop recording this.
Yeah, just press recording, I think.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, this is true. But hopefully that'll be good enough for Neil.
If he can edit it, he can chop it down, can't he?
Oh, he can do whatever he wants to it, to be honest with you. There you